Oh, jeez. After committing a capital crime, which is defined as crimes such as first-degree murder or rape of a child, a large percentage of people are sentenced to capital punishment. In fact, since 1977, there have been 1,436 executions of inmates on death row. 1,436 murderers, rapists, sex traffickers, and more permanently wiped away from the surface of this earth, never again given the opportunity to brutally torture another. Picture yourself, the survivor of a horrible crime, a crime that will haunt you for the eternity of your life, receiving the news that your attacker will be sentenced to death. Imagine getting this information, rather than knowing in the back of your head that this person will have the same privileges as you, like breathing the same sacred air, eating the same food, living a life on earth just as you do, except simply behind metal bars. Imagine the relief felt, the closure you will endure, knowing you never again will have to worry about this terrifying soul. The death penalty is a punishment that I strongly believe should be enforced. James Abbott from the Death Penalty Information Center says that despite expenses incurred by the government from imposing capital punishment, the death penalty costs the government less than it actually would be for life imprisonment without parole. Sentencing a convict to life is collectively higher due to the expenses of food, health care, and other various costs of sustaining the lives of incarcerated individuals who are serving that life sentence. According to the Office of California's Nonpartisan Legislative Analysis, on average it costs $47,102 to maintain an inmate serving a life sentence in a state prison. James D. Aurora from the Death Penalty Information Center says that this is the result of the financial consequences for taxpayers. In other words, this money is coming from you. When you get your paycheck every week, or every 2 weeks, or whenever you get it, you see the money deducted due to taxes, that little spot on your check. A percentage of that is going to feed an incarcerated murderer who just killed 25 people. I'll let that sink in. Many solutions and conclusions can be found to solve the ethical problem of enforcing the death penalty nationwide. To allow more people to be brought on board with a purpose like this, one way is to find a more humane way of taking the life of a convict. Such ways can include putting the inmate to sleep with an anesthetic and then injecting them with the lethal injection so that they can go peacefully. Also, allowing a convict to have a day, in the prison of course, with family and friends before being executed as they could say their last goodbyes and farewells could be another solution to make both sides of the situation happy. Many things can result from the death penalty being enforced. To begin, according to Frank Thompson, a former superintendent of the Oregon State Penitentiary, says the death penalty deters criminals from committing any other serious offenses. One of the most frightening things for any human being is to lose their life. Therefore, the death penalty is a solution when it comes to discouraging people from carrying out these horrible crimes, knowing in their head that they could lose their life due to this. A lot of people will try to argue that because it is possible that the wrong decision could be made by the legal system, that the death penalty could take the life of an innocent person. With that being said, every obvious effort is made by the United States to give death row prisoners opportunities to challenge these conclusions. Modern methods of crime detection, like DNA testing, gives a greater certainty of guilt that has ever previously existed. And finally, towards the more moral side of the death penalty issue, this consequence can provide victims' families, and even victims themselves, with some closure to aid their healing and suffering and put a final stop to it. I challenge you to place yourself in the shoes of the victim, the sufferer, the human being who endured countless pain, torture, and agony. I challenge you to imagine living a life knowing that the man or woman who took a piece of your life away from you is living, eating, and breathing on the same ground as you. I challenge you to imagine a life living in complete fear, never really grasping onto that full closure, knowing that that individual is still somewhere else, somewhere out there on this planet. It's time to give these people closure. Give them peace. Let them rest.